Boom. Happy Monday. Just like that. Here we are. Wow. Time's really flying. Do you believe it's the end of February? Like it's February 24th, right? Like, how did that happen? Spring's going to be here before you know it. I don't want to jinx anything. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. As always, I'm your host, David Burrows. Great to have you here joining today. And happy Monday. Yeah, I always say it. Happy Monday. Why isn't it a happy Monday? I know some people don't like Mondays because you're like, oh, I got to go back to work. I don't want to go back to work. Yeah, it's Monday. And I like Mondays. I say it all the time. I know I repeat somebody said, why do you say the same thing all the time? Because I don't know. I mean it. Happy Monday. We get to talk to some great people every Monday. Speaking of talking with great people, I'll tell you earlier today, Stephen Healy and myself do our international show, Broadcasting to Your Community. He's in Devise. I can never say it right. I'm sorry, Stephen. He's in England. He's in the United Kingdom. And we do our show every Monday at 12 o'clock noon Eastern. And today we were joined by Ed, who gave us a little demonstration of PowerPoint. And our friend Fonz Chamberlain joined us. Yes, I know the Fonz. Not the Fonz you're thinking of, the other Fonz. But Fonz was there. And we were talking about some interesting stuff. And a group over in Cambridge that's well, they're all about the climate change, but they're taking a wrong approach. Anyway, go watch it. It's on the Facebook page, and we had a lot of fun though. And my dad jokes. I have my dad jokes. I've never done it here. I should talk. So my daughter gave me a calendar. Where is it? I have it here somewhere. A calendar for Christmas. And these are all dad jokes. Or what I like to say, bad dad jokes. So I read them every week. Look at me, I'm getting all disorganized here. I save them though, because I'm going to give them back to her someday. Anyway, let's put that over there. So I didn't read today's. I went through a whole bunch from last week, but I didn't read today's. So you get the bad dad joke on the show. Are you ready? Don't throw anything. Put your tomatoes away. Have you heard about corduroy pillows? They're making headlines. Somebody said to me the other day, they're like, David, you're so silly. I have so much fun doing what I do, and I tell you, I've been sitting back and looking over things and going, wow, this is pretty cool. I've been able to do that and stuff. And it's thanks to so many of you who've been watching and supporting the show and having a good time. If you're out there, please take the time to say hello in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from, who you are. Just say hello. And wherever you're watching from, in order for me to see your comments, you have to be watching from the Show with David Burrows page. So there's a link in the description above my horns. Make sure you're watching from there, because we are simulcast on the Talk Show Network, the Video Show Network, the Radio Show Network, the Live Video Hub, Be Live in 5, Brigetti Live. So we're in South Africa, Ireland, United Kingdom, all throughout the United States. So thank you to all of our Facebook Hub friends for doing that. But take a moment, say hello in the comments, and I'll be sure to say hello back to you as well. Got some great things to talk about. We got the Federal Bridge Corporation is going to be talking to us today. And then we've also got our friend Troy Shantz from the Sarnia Journal, who's nominated for an award. We're going to be talking to him as well. But first, boy, it's more than a game for sure for the Sarnia Sting. What a roller coaster every year. I've said it a few times, but it really has been an emotional one too. I talked to some of the players, throughout the year, and it's certainly been an emotional one. And we often talk about the players and their game, or their not so good game. Let's talk about the coaches and the coaching staff behind the scene for a minute. They do a lot of stuff and they don't get a lot of credit or whatever. There's a lot of emotion and frustration going on there too. We've had the privilege of talking to Darian Hatcher a few times from the Sarnia Sting, and he expressed his frustration, and I guess rightfully so, right? So we appreciate the efforts of the Sarnia Sting, and if you're a Sting fan, it's been a struggle, and there's a lot going on with the Sarnia Sting. There's Ed Weinberg. He says hello from Florida. Oh boy, I can't imagine what the weather's like in Florida. It's not bad here, you know, like it was 8 degrees yesterday. And for the time of year where I live in Sarnia, Ontario, that's warm, believe it or not. So Ed, thanks so much for stopping by, and thanks for your stopping by on the show earlier. And there's John Upton. Mr. Upton, how are thee? Thank you. Don't see you too often, John. It must be past your bedtime where you're at. It's got to be about 8:30 your time. It's got to be getting close to your time. Steven's probably in bed for sure. So the Sarnia Sting, more than a game, and but lately coming out on top. This is your Sarnia Sting recap brought to you by Oswald's Diner and Active Ears. We thank them for their support of the show. Boy, oh boy, look at that. 4-2 against the Sioux Greyhounds just yesterday, Sunday, if you're watching live. And before that, 6-4 win over the Windsor Spitfires. And both of these teams giving the Sting a hard time in past days. And coming off some tough losses there previously, they're going to play the Flint Firebirds again coming up this Wednesday, February 26th. And last time they met Flint was pretty rough. So they'll be looking for some payback. Pretty rough is like, it was a football game. It was like 12-7 was the final score, not in favor of the Sarnia Sting. So they'll definitely be looking for some payback, but it's good to see. It looks like they're getting a little back on track there with the wins. Is it too late for the playoffs? I don't know. We'll talk about that on Wednesday. I'll be live from the Progressive Auto Sales Arena as always. And this week, my friend Jake Chersky will join me to talk about what's happening with the Sarnia Sting. And hopefully we can come out they can come out on top. It's nice to still see the fans coming out and giving support to this thing. It's tough when you're having a rough year, but Sarnia Sting seem to be back on track. So once again, your Sarnia Sting recap from Oswald's Diner and Active Ears. What do we look at? Missed the. What's Ed saying here? Going to 79 today. So that's like, what's that, like 20 degrees Celsius? Something like that, 18. Okay, it's getting there. That's good. Kelly missed the noon show. Good thing for replays. Oh, yes. Well, Kelly, we had a really great show. So you missed it live, that's for sure. We had a lot of fun. We always have a good show, but we had some Ed Weinberg, I hope I said that right, showed up. And Fonz was on there joining us. And he had lots to say about certain things. So it was a good show. It's poor Stephen Healy. I showed up late to get him off on the wrong foot. I was working away and lost track of the time, and I was like, oh, crap, I got to get on the air with Stephen. He started without me, so that's okay. And then technical things weren't working, and the Fonz showed up, and anyway, it was quite a show. Speaking of shows, and before I talk about this, I should have put the pictures on. We had a great time at McCarthy's South Side here doing karaoke. I don't do karaoke that often, but what I do, it is a good time. It was good to be down there. And some great people came out to have a lot of fun. It's over on, I have another page called Karaoke Live. If you want to check that out, you'll see the pictures there of the fun we were having. Karaoke is always fun, even if you don't sing and you just clap. It's always interesting times. And some of our friends from Beer Store Money came out. Melissa and Chris came out to support us as well, so we appreciated them. Oh, 26 degrees. Is that what 79 is? Okay. Oh, well, that's pretty good. I can handle that. Down at the Blue Line, Beer Store Money regularly, well, at least part of the band, Chris and Melissa, and they're always down there running the open mic. Starts early on Tuesday night, 7 o'clock. It usually runs like 7. It's supposed to go 7 to 10, but I can tell you it often goes past 10 o'clock because they're having so much fun. It's really building a crowd down there. I'm torn because I go to Twisted Arm for trivia, and then some nights I go to Tuesday's my Friday, so sometimes I go down to the Blue Line. I think I'm going to get down to the Blue Line this week, though, and see some more of that. So if you're in Sarnia and you play an instrument, harmonica, wherever that is, bringing it out to the Blue Line, downtown Sarnia on Front Street. Starts at 7 o'clock, and they've always got some great specials on there as well, too. Matilda, you've heard me talk about this every week, but I really want to help them sell some tickets. They're doing pretty good, but there's still time to get some tickets for Matilda. The St. Patrick's Secondary School Drama Group is going to be putting that on at the Imperial Theater. You can go to imperialtheater.net. And a few weeks ago, we had some of the characters and some behind-the-scenes folks putting together the production of Matilda. It was some great interviews with some young folks and some very, very talented young folks as well. So imperialtheater.net, the place to go and get your tickets for that. And the Pastelicious. Oh, I'm getting hungry already. Coming up Friday the 28th in support of the Kidney Foundation. There'll be 2 seatings, 11:30 to 12:30. It's $15 at the Donny Club here in Sarnia. These Pastelicious local groups are going to be bringing in their pasta dishes and serving it up, and it's all for a great cause, of course, the Kidney Foundation. And I've got it in my calendar. Elaine sent that to me. I'm pretty sure I got that in my calendar. Where is it? Yep, there you go. That's coming up this week. I'm going to have to get in there. I'll be there at the 12:31, so save me a spot. Again, Pastelicious, the Donny Club here in Sarnia. One Good Shift. Now, this was a pretty awesome interview a few weeks ago, or last week, rather. Sean Pete, who's former professional hockey player, is coming to Sarnia. And he's going to talk about how one good shift can make a difference. Now, if you've seen motivational speakers or positive talkers or whatever you want to say, oh, another one of those. Listen, the interview I did with Sean was amazing. I could have done 2 hours or more with this gentleman. He's amazing and an amazing story. Now, he's not here to come and talk about hockey or NASCAR, because he went from professional hockey to Canada's first NASCAR pit coach. Yeah, how did that happen? It's quite a story. What he talks about is our perspective on failure and how one good shift can really make a difference. And he wants to inspire you, and he will inspire you. I've seen a lot of motivational speakers, and just having this conversation, he is an amazing individual, and you don't want to miss it. And it's supporting the St. Clair Child and Youth Center here in St. Clair Child and Youth Services, and part of their Face Off for Mental Health program as well. Tickets are on sale. It's March 5th, again at the Imperial Theater. And if you can make it out to see him, wow, just do it. I know I promote a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of good stuff. I'm telling you, you will miss something incredible if you don't do that. So Kelly and everybody else watching, go out and get your tickets for this. March the 5th, again, supporting St. Clair Child and Youth Services. And Sean, I'm looking forward to meeting you at that. Let's go back over to our comments. Ed says, don't you use metric in Canada? Oh, yeah, we use metric in Canada. Doesn't mean that I'm good at math. So I just took a guess. I'll tell you, when I saw, when you said 79, I had a picture in my head of our thermometer in our swimming pool when I was a teenager, and I was trying to picture where that would be. So, but I sucked at math. So thanks for straightening me out there, Ed. And our friend Dom is saying hello as well. Rock for Dimes coming up. We'll be talking about that as well too, Dom. Probably next week we'll get into that a little bit more, but that's coming up to Brownstones again, the Rock for Dimes in support of March of Dimes. So one good shift. Yes, get your tickets for that. United Way, our friend Dave Brown joins us once a month, and he gave us some update. They seem to be getting some more donations, but they've got to keep going all year. Just almost came up short on their campaign just at the end of last year. So they're starting now to raise their funds. 15% of sales go to the United Way at the Refined Fool on London Road coming up on March the 4th. That's next Wednesday from 3 till midnight. And kudos to Refined Fool. They do very well at supporting a lot of these. They have a lot of these takeovers, they call them, down at Refined Fool. It's giving 15% of sales. That's pretty generous. So thanks to Refined Fool for that. And United Way can use your support. Go out and have some pints and some food and some fun. There'll be some other activities going on there as well. And great food. Burger Rebellion. Oh, yeah, got to have that. All right, well, getting into April now. April the 22nd. Sarnia Sings, Volume 4. Yes, this is the 4th year for it. And I'm excited to be a part of it again. I'll be the MC and host for the evening, and some great talent. We had auditions this year. There was the first year that Adam Dumont and the committee decided, let's have some auditions for singers. And wow, it was tough for people to decide who was going to get to perform. But the performers have been announced. And if you want to see who they are, I'm not going to list them all here. It'd take too much time. There's about 17 in all performers. You can go to the Sarnia Sings Facebook page, and you'll see all the performers there. One of them in particular I will mention, though, Tony O'Hora, who is one of the, not one of the original members, but one of the members from the band Sweet. Remember Sweet? You know, Fox on the Run and Ballroom Blitz? Yeah, that's one of the guys, and he's going to be there. Jeff Peters is going to be singing in there, Kyla Higgins, and Dan Tidball, I don't have them all in front of me, so I'm forgetting a bunch. But go over to Sarnia Sings, check that out. Imperial Theater, once again, April the 22nd. It's a Wednesday, so don't tell me you're busy with other stuff. It's a Wednesday. Get your tickets for $30 and supporting mental health and suicide awareness initiatives here in Sarnia. I want to say special thank you to Fabian Jagu and Francophilia from the Cooperators for being gold sponsors of that this year. Lots of sponsors to thank. And we'll be talking more about that. We'll probably have Adam Dumont or maybe some of the performers here on the show. Sarnia Sings, April the 22nd. Go get your tickets. Do it now. All right. The Walk for Alzheimer's, the IG Wealth Management Walk for Alzheimer's is happening again this year. This year it's on Sunday, May the 31st. And they are now, registration is open. You can go to, just go to Alzheimer's Sarnia Lambton, Google it, and you go to their website. There's got their Facebook page and all the information is there. Last year, so my father has Alzheimer's dementia, and my family started a team last year, and I think we were in the top 3 or 4 or something like that, but we raised just close to $3,000. So that was pretty awesome. So looking to do that again. So forewarning, I will be, if you're watching or you're a friend on Facebook, I will be reaching out to you for a donation. So it's obviously important to my family and many others who suffer from Alzheimer's and dementia, and not just those that suffer from it. It's those that are the caregivers. My father's wife is still around and able to take care of him, and she has for some time now. And but the caregivers need relief as well. Pretty stressful times, not a pleasant thing to go through. So myself and my family and many others, very grateful for the Alzheimer's Society, not just in Sarnia Lambton, but all over. But you can support it by I'll be sending you the links. You can please donate and help us. We want to be number 1. I got some challenges going out there. We came up just a little bit short of being first place. But at the end of the day, we just want to raise a bunch of money to support the Alzheimer's Society here in Sarnia Lambton. So if you're interested and you want to participate, go online, Google them. There you go. All right, let me get back. See, there we go. Okay. I'm doing the wrong thing now. Hide that. There we go. Boy, this self-production thing can be tricky. But if Dom can do it, I can do it. Right, Dom? Okay. We're going to talk a little bit now about the Federal Bridge Corporation. And, I'm not sure which one I want to do first here. Let me just make sure. Yeah, we'll do the Federal Bridge Corporation first, I think. Todd Kealey from the Federal Bridge Corporation. He was here last year and talked to us about a connection program, crossing the bridge, and a special program. You can save some money with that. But now electric is finally becoming true to light, that it's available. In fact, even the car show down in Toronto recently, it was a big focus on electric cars and, of course, environment and climate and all that stuff. Well, they've installed some electric stations here in Sarnia, or Point Edward rather, at the Blue Water Bridge and the other bridge, the Thousand Islands Bridge. And Todd Kealey is here to talk to us about that. He's from the Federal Bridge Corporation. Take a look at this, and then we'll be back. Well, there's a lot of services around us that we maybe don't realize just the importance of them. And we've talked about this before, the Federal Bridge Corporation, and I've got some new announcements that we're going to talk about. But joining us right now, all the way from Ottawa, from the Federal Bridge Corporation, Todd Kealey. Thanks for being here, Todd.
Welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. It's good to have you back. I know we had you were here last year and you were talking about some things that we're going to review, but just to give a bit of a review, tell everybody who you are, what your title is.
Sure. I'm the Director of Communications and Marketing at Federal Bridge Corporation, and we're the Canadian owner on behalf of the Crown of the Blue Water Bridge, the Sault Ste. Marie International Bridge, the Seaway International Bridge in Cornwall, and the Thousand Islands Bridge in Thousand Islands, Ontario.
Yeah.
And we operate the Canadian half of the Blue Water Bridge.
Right. Good point. The Canadian half. Interesting. So there's a lot of moving parts with the Federal Bridge Corporation. I'm sure a lot of things that get handled. And I think, like living here in Sarnia, to be able to cross that bridge. We really take advantage of it, or take it for granted, I guess. It was, just hop on the bridge, pay our thing, and away we go. And must be making millions of dollars.
Well, it's paying for itself, really. But rust doesn't stop rusting, and the road wear doesn't stop wearing down with every crossing. So it is a constant battle against the elements to make sure that those places are still fully functional and capable of being safe crossings for everybody. Yeah,
and of course I said that sarcastically because I know that there's a lot going on there. And after talking to you from the last time, I even had a larger appreciation for that, I guess, accessibility that we have here. Let's go back to that crossing. We talk about, paying the tolls and everything. There's a system that you recently launched that kind of makes things a little simpler.
Yeah, we introduced I just happen to have one of them here. System called Connection that allows people to prepay their tolls, and it's basically an online account that people can access, put some deposit some funds into their account, and then with this little sticky they put in their windshield, it allows them to come up to the toll booth. The gate will magically open and let them through because the account is automatically debited and they're on their way. And honestly, the response from the community has been stunning. At this stage, something like 20% of our travelers are using their connection tags. There's a lane that's dedicated pretty much all the time for these users, and there's very rarely a lineup. So the people that use it really appreciate it. They can zip through and they're on their way. It's fabulous.
It's kind of like the
connection tag, David.
I do actually. Well, my wife has it. My wife has it because she does most of the crossing over the border there. But and it took me a while, even after we talked, to go, I got to do that thing, right? And then now the thing is, of course, she expects me to keep it that full for her, but so it was my credit card, but whatever. I think the neat thing about that, it's kind of like the nexus for toll booths, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and
you're a known entity, and you're on your way.
Yeah. Now, if I had to say I lived in Toronto, but my son or daughter was going to Lambton College here in Sarnia, can I purchase that for somebody?
Absolutely. It does. Like the tag itself is not associated with any specific vehicle. Obviously, once you stick it to a windshield, it's on that car forever. Right. But the person owning the account, paying the bills, and the person driving the vehicle don't necessarily need to be the same people.
I could see where that would be handy for some people.
And we have customers. It's kind of surprising. We've got customers who bought connection tags living in Illinois, living in like Quebec City, in New York State, and we're talking like Eastern New York. It's really impressive who's bought tags. Connecticut, Kentucky, all over the place.
And why would they be buying the tags?
I would guess that they probably have like a vacation home or something like that, and they travel. I don't know, maybe I'm not keeping tabs on everybody individually, but they're probably going to their cottages on the weekends or in the summer months, something like that, or snowbirds going down south every year.
Oh yeah, okay, all right.
So that nature.
Well, let's speaking of keeping tabs on everybody, of course, when there's a new technology that's introduced to the public, I think especially these days, the first thing that comes up is privacy and security issues. Is that something I'm assuming that's been a part of this project?
Yeah, we keep very people's privacy is very important to us. We actually don't keep people's information. We obviously, on our side, we keep their addresses and phone numbers and email and that kind of stuff.
Sure.
But the banking information, like the credit card information, is all protected by the company that manages the financial transactions. So we don't even have access to that information. So we keep our information secure behind firewalls, and we protect our customers by not even keeping data that we don't need to keep on our servers.
Well, that's good to know, because as I said, I think that's I was just listening to CBC earlier today about another, how people handle personal information, and it's it's just at the forefront of people's minds. So it's good to know that that's been looked after, and great to see the success of that then as well. Because I know, like I say, we saw you at the tall ships here last year. We see you in the advertisement at the Sarnia Sting games here. So it's nice to see the Federal Bridge Corporation participating in those communities. Yeah,
private sponsors of everything going on in the Sarnia area. If there's anything we'd like to do is encourage people who are, like I call them weekend warriors, people who go to the States on the weekends to use it, because our lowest usage rates are on the weekends and our highest volumes are on the weekends. So you really want to cut down your wait times. Get yourself a connection tag. Even if you're only crossing once a month, you're saving yourself some money and you're saving a lot of time.
I was going to say there's a discount attached to this too, right?
Yeah. People pay 50 cents less per vehicle every time they cross.
That's one of the things that my wife loves about it. She counts up how much we save over a year, not just in one trip, right? Exactly. So that's good. Yeah. Well, let's talk about, there's a new program. I know one of the reasons we're talking here today, you sent me an email regarding electric charging stations that have been installed here at the Blue Water Bridge and at the Thousand Islands location, right?
Right. Yeah, we've taken a big step in terms of trying to understand who our customers are and what their needs are. And we started looking at what we could do. Initially, it was for trucks. How could we do things for trucks? So we started thinking, well, we laid down some infrastructure to support electric trucks. And they're not really very present in the market right now. No. But we've got infrastructure in place that once they become more visible, we'll be able to help them keep themselves moving. But in the meantime, what we've done is we've set up some electric vehicle chargers that are focused on car drivers, because there are a fair amount of those cars out there already. Right. We put in 2 as a pilot program, one at Thousand Islands, as you said, and one at Blue Water near the duty-free store. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
And
you're a wanted man.
I'm a wanted man. Of course, my phone never rings except when I'm on the phone with somebody else. Right?
That's right.
We put the charger near the duty-free store so that when people are charging their cars, they have something to do with the 20 minutes that they're going to spend more or less. The batteries, and the actual unit has been in place since the late fall. But we had an issue with some water damage, so we had to wait for replacement parts to come in, and that's all done. The machine's been certified by the electrical authorities, and it's now available for everybody to take advantage of it.
So, that's great. We've seen a lot of that here in Sarnia. We've seen more charging stations showing up. Our local college, I see them at, like Tepperman's has got them here, like stores and parking lots are so it's obviously something that's needed. But why at the bridge? Like, why can't it just be like I'm crossing into Port Huron? Yeah,
we felt that there was maybe a certain anxiety with people. Like, the issue that they face is mainly with range, right? So we're worried that if someone is afraid to cross because they're afraid of, let's say, of a lineup that unexpectedly and getting stuck in traffic or something like that, we figured we know we're not a destination, number one. But we need to reassure people or give them at least that anxiety removal so that they can feel unafraid to cross. The other side of it is, again, because we know we're not a destination, we put in a machine that's 25 kilowatts. So it's what I'd call a medium-high capacity unit, right? So that you don't have to spend a lot of time charging, right? You pull up in 15, 20 minutes, your car's ready to go again. Whereas, let's say a home charger, you're charging overnight, 6 to 8 hours, right? So with a high capacity unit, you're not wasting a lot of your time while it's charging, and you're back on the road as quickly as possible, and all your worries are taken care of.
Makes good sense. Let's talk about money for a minute, though. Right now this is a pilot project. You've got 2 stations there. Really nice for you to pay for the electrical bill. But when we start expanding, and the Toronto, the auto show's on in Toronto right now, and one of their big focuses is these, like it's finally time that these things are coming to the public. Now, when we start getting into a whole bunch of people having, and I'm going to go over there and plug in because it's free. Well,
there is a small.
There's going to be Oh, there is a fee. Okay.
There is a small fee. So the system is part of a network that's run by a company called Charge Lab. And so people in the electric vehicle world, they subscribe to these networks, and they have, you know, GPS maps on their phones that show them where the chargers are.
Oh, okay.
And so they pull up to the unit, and with the app, they basically turn the unit on and start charging their cars. And you can also buy, at the duty-free store, you can buy it's like a credit card for that network. And so you can buy one of those, like a $25 prepaid card, and use that every time you charge up.
It's the new gas station, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and the paradigm is different, though, because, you know, like, I'm pretty sure you're like me, you gas up when your tank is maybe showing an eighth, a quarter.
I get to a quarter, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah, I tend to go to vapors, but that's just me. My girlfriend nuts. But electric vehicle people, they're more top-up driven. So what they do is they try to find locations where they can plug in while they do other things. So they're constantly topping up, not necessarily filling it, but just keeping as high a charge as they can so they can keep moving. And their cars, will tell them how far they can go before they need another one. So
I do the same thing with my phone, right? Like I'm constantly looking at, you know, how much do I have left? And okay, so when I'm teaching class, I can be plugging that in because I don't need it. And I guess you'd be very conscious about it. My son has an e-bike, for example. He knows exactly to the kilometer how far he can go before he needs to. And he's okay, that makes sense. So it is a different mindset.
Yeah, and it's exactly the same as the phone, though. But the one difference is with a vehicle, the weather affects it. So if you got a really cold day, you've got a shorter range, right? So again, having the comfort of
I suppose I turn the heat on
and charge, it's good for them. Yeah.
So how long have these been in place now?
Well, they've both physically been in place, I think, trying to remember clearly, early October, I think it was, when they were both physically installed. Okay. But as of this Monday, so the 17th, as of the 17th, the unit at Blue Water has been live. Oh,
okay. Yeah. So there's more than one bridge around. So what was the process in deciding that Blue Water Bridge and Thousand Islands got this?
So really all I did was I took a map and I Googled electric charging stations. And I found where they were, like the nearest ones. And so I looked around, and Blue Water, I think there's one in the U.S., not too far away, but it's not exactly on the path of the highway, number one. And number two, Blue Water has a really high level of traffic. And for Thousand Islands, it's kind of in the middle of nowhere, electric station-wise. So the whole neighborhood sort of called out for support of that service. And if you look at Sault Ste. Marie or you look at Seaway at Cornwall, within like, say, 2 kilometers of each bridge, there were alternates for people. So I figured, let's start with the ones where there could actually be a community benefit for it. And we'll see what the interest levels are, and then we'll expand from there. And as I said earlier, our plan for Blue Water is really also for trucks. So it's a chicken and egg scenario. As we get more electric trucks out there, the need for this will be even greater. And then we'll be able to get to that stage. And the other side of that is, as we get more and more trucks with capabilities for it, the cost for those super high capacity units will hopefully come down, because they're really expensive pieces of hardware. And so the bigger plan is to cover all bridges in both directions, and where possible, put in commercial chargers too for the big vehicles. Yeah. Baby steps.
Wow. Well, yeah. Well, like you say, pilot project, you got to start somewhere, and there's going to be bumps along the way that you got to figure things out. And are there security issues, going back to that topic? Are there any security issues with this type of thing as well?
Not really. There's physical security that's always a concern, that no vandalism happens to it. But they're in sections of the crossing that are fully covered by cameras, and they're in the secure zone, if you will, of the crossings, or behind the fences. So we don't expect anybody to just sort of come up to them and goof off. And on the data security side, again, you have the people who use them sign up for membership in this network of providers. So they're all kind of vetted from that perspective.
That's already been handled.
Their security, their privacy is protected by the app and things that go with it.
Well, I think it's really interesting times, with the technology ever progressing and how we're finally getting to this electrical state. We know the technology has been around. I mean, we've had the smart car for quite some time, but I wouldn't want to be in a small one like that myself. But I wouldn't want to run over a bicycle with that or something. But anyway, that's good to see, and it's nice to see the Federal Bridge Corporation obviously recognizing the growing need. I mean, especially the trucks is always a big issue here. I mean, we have our second bridge, which has been there for quite a few years. I think it's got to be almost 20 years. I think that it's been there.
I think was it 92 that the second span was built? Something.
Yeah. Like so, I mean, it's like, how did that happen? Can we get a third one in there?
Well, they're getting to the stage where we're going to start doing some surface work because we want to protect the asphalt, right? So that's coming on the horizon, but a few years away. And
they just completed I don't know if I'm going to say this right. Emergency.
Oh yeah, the emergency return road.
Return road, yeah.
So that's between the duty-free store and the bridges. So it allows vehicles, let's say, that were refused entry into Canada, they can just circle through the parking lot and then get back on the bridge and go back to the U.S.
Right.
Or the other way around is if someone wanted to, let's say, make a delivery to the duty-free store, they could use that as a means of getting in or getting out of the plaza without crossing the bridge.
Right. Instead of putting it in reverse and saying, get out of here.
And blocking everybody. And
and causing more issues.
Yeah.
Well, Todd, thank you so much for your time here today. It's nice to reconnect with you again. If people want to find out more about you, what's the best or what the Federal Bridge Corporation is doing, what should they do?
Probably the best thing is look at our news items on the federalbridge.ca website. And in there, you get contact information for the connection program. You get contact information for me. So they can just feel free to reach out and give us a phone call or an email.
Fantastic. Todd, thank you once again. All the way from Ottawa, ladies and gentlemen, the Federal Bridge Corporation. Again, go to their website, which are showing up on the screen right now. We're going to go back into the studio and talk to you some more. Thanks, Todd.
Thank you, David.
All right. Well, once again, Todd Kealey from the Federal Bridge Corporation and joining us from Ottawa there. That was, of course, an interview earlier this week. But some great things happening here at the Blue Water Bridge and the Thousand Islands Bridge, of course, as well. There's a lot of really neat information. Go to the federalbridge.ca and find out all the different projects that are happening and what they're doing to keep things going here with our bridge, and some really interesting stuff. And the connection program, as we mentioned there as well. If you are crossing the border, you save 50 cents every time you cross. Put a little thing, sticks in your window, and you just pull up. And it's like I said, it's like the nexus for toll booths. And you're supporting their programs as well. So thanks again, Todd Kealey. We'll have him back regularly. I'm sure we'll see him again probably another couple of months. He's always got some things to share with us. So thanks again, Todd. All the best, and we'll look forward to seeing you again next time. All right, well, a little more closer to home now. We've got some great people in this community, of course. That's one of the things we like to showcase here. And Troy Shantz, in my opinion, is one of those people. And he's recently he's been nominated for an award. He's a journalist at the Sarnia Journal, and it's the OCNA, or the Ontario Community Newspaper Awards. The Sarnia Journal has actually been nominated for 5 awards in total, and I was able to have Troy over here at my home and talk to him, and we're going to talk about his career and his nomination for this award. Let's go to the community, take a look at Troy Shantz. Getting out of the community, because there's so much greatness going on in this community, and like to recognize that. And one of the things we want to recognize is local journalist Troy Shantz. Thanks for being here, Troy.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Congratulations. We've got you here today to talk to you about an award that you've been nominated for with the Ontario Community Newspaper Awards. There's a mouthful to say. Congratulations on that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. And notably as well, the Sarnia Journal overall receiving 5 award nominations.
Yes.
On this, right?
Our highest amount since the paper has been around. It started in 2014. So
yeah, you've got to feel pretty good about that.
Absolutely. You know what it says to... I mean, it's nice to be recognized provincially among our peers of newspapers and reporters. I feel like it sends a really good message to the community too, that people outside of Sarnia recognize that we're doing a good job here covering news.
Yeah, absolutely. And special mention to our friend Kathy Dobson, who's nominated for 2 of the awards.
Absolutely, yeah.
So congratulations to you, Kathy. And, you know, the Sarnia Journal, going back to where it first began, you know, as like any business, I guess, ran into obstacles along the way. And I think one of the first things that I remember going, a newspaper, like, why would we do that? Everything's going on the internet. But the Sarnia Journal has been able to prove a lot of people wrong.
Well, you know what, I can't speak to the success of the journal. I'm one of the front lines guys, but the minds behind it, the owners, they're all media veterans. They're all from this area. Yeah. They all are very deeply passionate about this area. They care about Sarnia. They care about doing a good job, and whether that's reporting on the news or distributing the paper properly or giving our advertisers a really good service as well. Everyone really cares about the city in general.
Yeah, brought it together well, obviously showing with these 5 nominations.
Sure.
Let's talk about you some more, though, Troy. I reached out to you because we've established a relationship, a friendship. And what was the first thing that got you involved in journalism? What was that attraction?
I've always been in media. That's what I've done for my entire professional career. I went to Conestoga College for broadcasting. I graduated in 2005. Almost immediately after graduating, though, I went into marketing and advertising. It wasn't until 2014 that I decided that there was, I guess, too much going on around me that I wanted to, I guess, inform people about, right? It wasn't so much about telling the stories of businesses or organizations. I wanted to tell, you know, regular stories about regular people in my city. So that's what drove me to it. And it was a matter of knocking on doors. It was a matter of getting connected with the right people. Turns out the editor, George Matheson at the Journal, was very open to I guess taking me under his wing early on. And that's how I got to where I am now, and where I guess,
here you are.
And here we are, yeah.
So let's talk about your the reason you've been nominated for your series about metal thieves. There's an interesting title.
Well, it's an interesting issue, and it's not really an issue that I knew about before I started reporting on it. So it turns out there's quite a lucrative market for different types of metal, and we're talking about scrap metal. We're talking about metal that's you know, from construction sites, from industrial sites, and even pulled out of buildings, which are finished buildings, or maybe they've been abandoned, but they're still a target for metal thieves, who, what they'll do is they will gather up this metal and they'll take it to metal recyclers. We're not sure which metal recyclers. We don't know if there's different steps in the process. That's, I mean, the police are on top of it, and that's part of my reporting, is showing what the police are doing. The issue is it's an incredibly difficult crime to I guess to enforce. You have to catch someone in the act. How do you someone's going down the street with a bag full of pipes and copper, you can stop them and say, where did you get that? I mean, unless you saw where they got it, it doesn't matter. There's no serial numbers on a lot of metal.
Right.
That's the challenge. Right?
Yeah. And well, it's interesting to me. We'll go back a minute. You made the comment of, you know, what scrap metalists are they selling it to? I mean, like, I know if I go to a pawn shop and I want to pawn something or sell something, there's a form to fill out. Where did it come from and all of that. Is that not something that happens in this scenario?
And absolutely, and that's where a lot of council and a lot of police's, I guess, attention has been, is finding out, well, where are they selling it? Many metal recyclers in town here follow the rules. I've spoken to them directly. I've interviewed them for stories. And I'm sure the police are on them much more than I am. But yeah, there actually are bylaws now you have to follow. You have to retain people's information. You have to take their address and their numbers. I understand. I think there's also a license that metal recyclers have to get. I don't know if that came in or if that was just an idea that was mused. I'd have to look into that. But the thing to I guess realize is it's not as simple as pulling up to one of our metal recyclers down Plank Road or something. You know, it's we don't know if this metal is going out of town. Maybe it's going to another site in Chatham or London. All very close to get to, and a lot less questions.
It's very well organized. Thinking of a few stories over the past year that I've seen, even down at the marina. When all that metal was taken,
absolutely,
copper wire was taken. There was a plan there. There was like all these tools that were designed for, and it was well thought out, and then. It's big business, and it's big business, I guess, but at the same time, some of it's local, I think, too, because what's this money that they're getting being used for?
Right.
Is this going into purchasing drugs, or is this is how I make my living?
It's hard to say. The individuals that participate in this, you can't say it's all drug related. People may be trying to feed their kids. I don't know personally. I'm sure a lot of it is drug related. It's just the nature of the opiate epidemic here in Sarnia and all over southern Ontario, really all over North America, to be honest. But what's happening is folks are driven to the brink through whatever the situation is, a lack of opportunities, a lack of social supports, or what, and the only option is seeking out metal.
Right. How does this affect our community? I read a little bit about you in this series, social impact and political impact. You even talk about. How is this affecting us politically?
It's driving a divide within the community, and we can talk about the political side of it. But it's a lot of folks that are impacted by this are downtown residents. My mother-in-law, her house was broken into the night she got the keys to it, and they ripped wires and everything out of her house. And we're talking, steps away from Minton Village, where I live as well. I live very close to Minton Village. So, we see this problem, and you definitely see suspicious activity daily, which the police are watching, neighbors are watching, and you get neighbors that are have a little bit of suspicion about people that they don't recognize, or people are carrying a hockey bag around at 11 p.m.
Well,
it looks suspicious, right? So you're driving a divide between neighbors. You're driving a divide among neighborhoods, which is an unfortunate impact to it. But it's affecting the people that are getting robbed, right?
Right.
Well, and it's not even the city, the people that are getting robbed. One of the bigger stories in the series that I reported on was them just nightly gutting the Sarnia General Hospital.
Yeah.
In fact, one report that was part of the submission was they had figured out the thieves had figured out a sort of a zip line thing. So they would be gathering up copper and metal and sending it right out the window for somebody to collect down at the ground.
Pick it up in the van and take her away.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, if you want to get rid of something, here where we are, about South End, right? And I could put something out on the road, and it's gone very quickly.
Absolutely, the same
and
thing.
And I've actually figured it out. If I do it when it's dark, if I put it out around 8 o'clock when it starts to get dark, if I put a stove out there or something, very quickly gone. Right. I've had some lawn signs; they're gone because they're taking the metal. Like, it's everything, right? Where do you see happening next with all of this? Like, as far as, is there a way to stop this? And obviously we don't know that answer, but what are the next steps that maybe our officials and our police need to take to try to minimize this?
That's a great a great question, and I know it's I doubt there's a city councillor that hasn't thought about this from one time or another to try to figure out how can we get around this. Councillor Mike Stark was very vocal and in bringing forward the idea of licensing metal recyclers similar to the pawn shops. He was in the mix. He was asking the questions. He was talking to the right people. I have no idea. And to be honest, it's not really my role to figure out the solution. That's the job of our governments. That's the job of our police, and it's my job to report on the status of how it's going.
Right.
So.
Well, you've certainly brought some insight to light on the topic, that's for sure. So congratulations on that. What's next for Troy Shantz?
Same thing. Just going to keep rocking and rolling. There's still lots going on with the metal theft. There's a lot of stories that are kind of bubbling in the background, and then something will happen. I mean, I've quite extensively been keeping an eye on I guess the former St. Clair High School and now Great Lakes. So we had a pretty good story a few weeks ago. Was actually to get some point of view from right in the school from some courageous students. So it's important that all the reporters, myself, Kathy Dobson, everyone on the Journal, everybody at the radio station and the Observer, it's important that we all just kind of keep focused on what's happening in Sarnia and reporting and keeping the powers that be accountable.
And give it an honest view, right?
Give it an honest view, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Well, congratulations once again on your nomination.
Thank you very much.
I know April 3rd is the day, right? I believe that we're going to find out when you win.
We'll see.
Yeah, well, I think it's just great you've been able to put yourself in this position. And the Sarnia Journal as well, congratulations to all of you for your hard work and efforts. And I'm sure we'll be seeing some more of Troy Shantz in the area. Follow him on Twitter. He's very active on Twitter there as well.
Oh, I'm not going anywhere.
That's right. All right. Thanks again to Troy for joining us, and thanks to you for joining us. We're going to go back into the studio now and wrap things up.
Troy Shantz, great to have you here in my home and talking with you, Troy. And congratulations to Troy and Kathy Dobson and the Sarnia Journal for being nominated at the Ontario Community Newspaper Awards. It is a mouthful to say, but we wish them all the best. And you know what? I got to say, I do remember, and I said it there in the interview, I remember when the Sarnia Journal started, there was a newspaper, and I was really like, oh, come on, that's just... So you know what? I'm glad, for lack of better puns, you made me eat my words. There you go. Troy, thanks so much. And I've gotten to know Troy over the past few years. We really have established a nice relationship, and we have a lot of respect for each other and what we're each doing. And it was nice to be able to sit down and connect with them. One of my favorite things about sitting down and connecting with people is not just the camera interview, it's the after interview. Troy stuck around for another good half hour, an hour-ish minutes, and we had some great conversation. And I really appreciate that, Troy. So thanks again to Troy, and congratulations again to you and Kathy and the Sarnia Journal on your nominations. April 3rd will be the day that they find out whether they win those awards. Thanks again, Troy. We'll look forward to next time. All right. Well, and thanks to all of you. I'll come back out there. It's Catherine. I don't know if you're still there, but she said hello. Hello back to you, Catherine. And yes, Dom, I'm working on the prologue, I promise. And thanks to all of you who came by here today and spent time with us and listened to the greatness that's happening here in our community. I'm really happy and proud to be able to bring it to you here every week on the show. And I couldn't do it without some great support from the community as well. So I want to say thank you to our friends, AG Event Graphics at askguy.ca, banners, flags, they do car wraps, truck wraps, you name it, they do it. Get a hold of them online and check out their online video, their online store. And if you do get something from them, make sure you say, hey, I saw that on the show with David Burrows. Yeah, Joe's Discount Tire. Well, they weren't selling a lot of snow tires, at least not this year, but they are the tire experts, and they're located here in Sarnia and a huge supporter of what we do around here and at our Sarnia Sting game. So thank you to Joe's Discount Tire. Of course, our friends and family, I should say, down at Oswald's Diner, not just another diner. They're on Plank Road, delicious home cook food in their restaurant. Art and Karen and everybody down there. Thank you for your support here. And to Christine Feasy. She is Active Ears Hearing Centers, not just in Sarnia, but all over. Active Ears, where better hearing begins with you. Thank you so much for your support here as well. And our friends at the United Way, who will be back joining us very soon with another update, a monthly update. Thank you to them and Dave Brown for what they do in our communities and how they give back to our communities. And of course, if you don't want to look at me, and I understand maybe why, okay, haha, you can take me on your iPhone watch or your iPhone, you put me in the car, take me to work with you, wherever you're going. This podcast or this video cast will be turned into an audio podcast within 24 hours, and you can listen to me on Spotify, Stitcher, wherever podcasts are, including, yes, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and everywhere else there's a podcast. If it's a podcast, I'm on there, all right? So you can check that out as well. And thanks to all of you for coming here and joining me. That's all the time I got for you this week. Have a great week and an even better weekend. I will see you next time right here on the show. Bye for now.